Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy KTBT Vision, and I am back with another barber tutorial. Y'all seem to like when I do fades, so guess what? I'm giving y'all another fade. This one is going to be a bald fade. I think we're doing like a 1.5 on top or something like that, but let's get into it. So, to start off everything, y'all seen how I combed everything into position. So, now we're getting started into the fade. We're going to go with no guard all the way closed, right? And instead of me starting in the middle of the head, I am going to bring it a little bit lower because I want to be able to stretch the fade out wider to show a better transition, right? So after you do one thing on one side of the head, we're gonna go to the other side, we're gonna do the same thing. So then right after that, guess what? We're gonna open that blade all the way up and we're gonna go up instead of a inch or a finger's width, we're gonna go about inch and a half, right? We're gonna stretch that next section a little bit larger, right? To give a better blend or a larger blend, right? So literally you follow that all the way around to the other side of the head. One thing you do on one side, you do to the other side. Make sure you keep a comb in your hand, cut one, comb one. So then we're going to take that line right out. After that, we're going to use the notching method, right? I use this in every single one of my cuts. We're going to start from all the way open. We're going to drop it one notch. We're going to soften that, drop it another notch, soften that, drop it another notch, soften that, until you get all the way closed, and then the line will be taken out. As you can see, I'm really only using the corners of my blade, right? I know it looks like I'm placing the whole blade down, but I'm really not, right? I'm really using the corners and I'm using it in a flick out motion, right? The flick out helps break through the line, right? So that way the blend, it gives that soft blend effect. We're gonna do that same thing all the way around the head. When I'm doing this technique, right, this is my blending technique. I like to do it in sections, right? I don't want to make my workspace as large, so I do it in sections. I may start from one side of the head and I may go to, right behind the ear and I'll blend that area out. Once that's completely blended out, then I'll move around to the next section. The next section may be the entire back of the head. Once I get done with that, then I'm gonna move around to the next section, right? You do that to make it easier for yourself, right? You don't want to get confused. You don't want to get lost in your blend, right? So you take your time when you're doing this and you work smarter, not harder, right? You make smaller sections for yourself to make it easier. And it's the same process, man. I know I sped it up, but it's the same process. You start completely open, right? Because that's what we just put in. And then you go one notch, one notch, one notch, one notch, one notch until it's completely closed, right? Flicking out in all of those areas. And then before you know it, the blend of it, that first primary section would have been set and blended out all in one motion. And then now we come in with the one guard completely closed, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna go up about an inch and a half, right? That is the reason why I started so low when I set my bald line. It's technically not bald because my clippers aren't zero gap, but that is why I set my bald line so low, right? So that way I can stretch the blend out. It's still gonna give the mid fade effect, right? But it's just gonna be stretched to give a more dynamic or more gradual blend effect, right? And you do the same thing. You go all the way around the head, multiple strokes, combing as you're doing it to make sure everything is set in place. And then after we do that, what's under the one? We're gonna put that 0.5 guard or the zero guard on, and we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna come completely open using our corners, and we're gonna do the notching method. So from completely open, one notch down, one notch down, one notch down until you get to close, and the line will be completely blended out. Well, it may not be completely blended out. Sometimes the half guard or the zero guard doesn't take everything out. So you may have to come in with your clipper no guard completely open, right? Using those corners to completely take out that last line. But if you look, right, this is why I do this method, because in the process of me doing this, I am detailing while I'm blending it out. So that's not to say that once you get done, you won't have to detail anymore. You will still have to detail, right? Because that's what takes you from a typical normal barber, right, to someone who pays attention to detail, right, to someone who takes their time, to someone who really wants to send this client out with the best fade that you can possibly give them, right? So you detail in the middle of this. If you pay attention, I am using these corners to get into these dark spots. I am going from closed to open to halfway to, you may see me take off the guard and go completely open with no guard on. You may see me put a guard back on, put a larger guard, right? This is all what detail entails of. But if you're doing it in the middle of your fading process, right, you won't have as much to do when you are done with the fading process. You won't have to detail as much because you have done it in your steps, right? So I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna let y'all watch this part. Yes, it's kind of sped up, but it's the same steps. The steps are point 0.5 or half or zero guard, I'm sorry, completely open using the notching method. So that means you go from completely open, one notch, one notch, one notch, one notch until you're completely closed. And then you just lever play, right? Because sometimes on the first pass, it doesn't take everything off. So sometimes you got to go back in. But I'm going to sit back and I'm going to let y'all watch the rest of it. Now, see what I'm saying? As y'all can see, I done came back in with no guard completely open, and I'm using those corners because there are some dark spots that the half guard couldn't take out. It's just all attention to detail, man. Sometimes when you do that, you take a step back, you look away. Once you take the guard off, or as you comb and as you brush, you'll see things that your eyes may not have seen at first, right? Now I'm coming in with the 1.5 guard completely closed, and we're just coasting over the top. The reason I like to do my fading like this is because what you'll notice is when you come and you lay the desire, get the hair down to the desired length, right? Lay it down after you set in your first and second sections. What you'll notice is the top of that will blend into it perfectly because I'm going to use this 1.5. I'm sorry, that's not closed. That's halfway, maybe. I'm not sure, but you're going to come back in with that 1.5 guard right at the top of that, and it's going to blend seamlessly into it, right? It just makes the steps easier, right? I do everything with a purpose, right? Everything is to set me up for my next step. It is to set me up for my transitions, right? Everything just falls into place. But when you're doing this, you want to make sure that you're going over multiple times, combing as you go along, right? Just to make sure everything is down to the desired length. Just, multiple clean, full strokes, you know what I'm saying? Multiple passes, and you comb as you're doing it. Okay, now see, I done came in with that 1.5 completely open, and I'm going against the grain now as opposed to going with the grain, right? So now, as you see me doing it, I'm taking full straight up and down long strokes, right? Because that 1.5 is going to be the largest guard that I'm going to use. So when you're going full strokes, right, it's covering a larger area, but it's also with like a light pressure. So it's kind of helping blend everything together, right? It'll be the same as if you were doing a high top and you take the 2 guard, right, and you kind of like scoop into the length up top. You're like kind of scooping out at the top, but you're lightly scooping into it, and it's just cutting those little hairs that's right there. Because then what we're gonna do is we're gonna come back with that notching method, right? With this 1.5, we're gonna drop it a notch, and we're gonna keep dropping it until it gets to completely closed, right? To soften that line up for my next step, which will be the 1 guard completely open to blend everything together. You see how I'm saying? You want to make sure when you creating your steps or when you creating your sections or whatever the case may be, whatever you're doing, The first step should set you up for the next step to make it easier for your fading process. It's all about consistency and making sure you making it easier for yourself, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. Just find you a system that works for you. Even if my system doesn't work, just find something that works for you and practice, practice, practice. The more you cut, the more you practice, the more everything will make sense to you. But you want to make sure you keep a brush or a comb in your hand as you're doing this, because you want to cut one, comb one, brush one, cut one, brush one, whichever one you prefer to use. But I'll sit back and I'll be back when we get to the next step. See, like I said, now I'm coming back in with the one guard completely open, right? Yes, it's sped up, but I'm coming in with the one guard completely open, attacking that line that I just created with that 1.5 guard, right? And because I used the one guard closed, that one guard completely open is going to blend right in between them two. It's just going to mesh everything together perfectly. Now, it may not be perfect the first pass. You may have to go back in, but that is what detail work is for, right? Right now, this is technically just like you can consider it a rough draft. Yes, you're doing most of the detail work now, but sometimes you'll learn that some clients take more detail than other clients do. And that's okay. You just have to learn the hair pattern. You have to learn the way that it grows, the curl pattern, the density. You just have to learn the client, right? And then here, I think I came in with the two guard. I know I said that 1.5 would be the largest guard, but I came in with the two guard to kind of debug, right? I'm not setting a section, I'm not setting a guideline or anything like that. I'm literally just using it to debug, right? I could have came back in with the one guard completely closed and just went with the grain and it would lay everything down. I decided to come in with the two guard. I mean, it's technically the same thing, right? It'll do the same job, and I'll probably still come back in with that 1.5 and do a little bit more detail work in the end. But again, right, as you're cutting, you'll gauge and you'll see, okay, oh, I do need to use the two guard in this area. Oh, I may need to use a three guard in this area, or whatever the case may be, right? So it's all in learning your clippers, learning your steps, right? Learning your fading process, and then everything when you have to adjust, it won't be difficult to adjust because now you're poised, you're calm, you know what to do, you've been here before, right? So now it's easy for you to just make that minor adjustment and boom, So just sit back and watch. Like I said, I think I'm gonna come back in with the 1.5 guard after that just to do a little bit more detail work. But yeah, everything is coming along perfectly though. So just sit back and watch. So yeah, there I go with the 1.5 again. Now you see I'm kind of using like longer, feathery, softer strokes, right? Again, right, it's all in the different pressures and things of that nature, man. But I'm telling y'all, the more you cut, man, the easier it will get, right? It's not hard to explain, but it can be sometimes. You just gotta keep working, keep grinding, keep cutting, and everything will fall into place, man. Also, man, when you're cutting, right, make sure you're using the mirror. The mirror will tell you the things that your eyes want. See, now I'm coming back in with that one and a half guard completely closed. And I'm going back over everything, right? Just to lay everything back down. But yeah, man, make sure you use the mirror. The mirror is going to tell you everything that you need to see. Also, you're going to notice that I noticed that with this client, his right side is less dense as his left side. So it gives off the appearance that I raised one side higher than the other. I technically did right because his hair is lighter on one side than it is the other side. So what you'll see me do is you'll see me on that left side, I'll do a little bit more detail work, right? To lighten that side a little bit more to match it with the right side. But I mean, again, right, when you're cutting, you're also paying attention to the hair so you can see, oh, okay, this side is denser, this side is not as dense, this side has a cowlick, maybe this side doesn't, oh, this side grows this way, this side grows this way, right? So as you're cutting, right, you're studying the head the entire time to know how you need to attack it, right? But as you see, man, you know I like to leave that hair at the bottom so that way when the blend is finished, well, not finished, but you know, when the blend is kind of set in place, I can get that hair off the bottom, and it's just like it makes the blend pop even more. So yeah, now you see me setting up for my lining prep, right? You know I like to come in with the got to be glue, then I brush everything into place, let it sit for a second, and then I'm gonna come in with the babies, right? But I'm going to here that's me asking the client if he wanted to keep his beard. He said yes. So now I'm going to fade the top of the beard into the fade that I just did, and it's the same steps, right? It's just a reverse fade. Dang, I couldn't speak. But you're gonna start no guard completely open, and you're gonna notch it down until you get to close. Then you're gonna come in with your one guard, same steps, half guard in between that to blend that together, and then you're gonna come in with your one and a half guard, and it's the same, literally the same exact steps. He's telling me where he wants the line to be placed. He wants to remove all of that. Make sure you are consulting with your client as you're cutting their hair. You asking them where they want things to be, how high they want the fade, how low they may want the fade, whatever the case may be, right? At the end of the day, man, this is all about client satisfaction. Yes, you want to send out the best fade or the best cut that you possibly can because this person is your walking billboard. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, sometimes we as barbers, we mess our own cuts up because we want it to be perfect, picture perfect. And sometimes the client don't even want all that. Sometimes you show the client the mirror and they are satisfied with what you gave them. It is everything that they wanted, but then we aren't satisfied with it. So we mess it up by going back in and, oh, I need to retouch this up, or oh, I need to redo this, or oh, I need to add this, I need to add that. And it's like, less is more when it comes to being a barber. Less is more. You consult with your client, have a conversation with your client, and they will tell you everything that they want. Now, going after I set the vertical bars, y'all know I like to use the tip of the nose, going straight up, start in the middle, and then I'll just match those two sides together. So I'll start in the middle and I'll go from the left, or I'll do the right, and match those vertical bars together. I used to didn't use this method, but I've been using it a lot more lately. It's all frame out work, right? It just helps you piece everything together. You can start off in the middle without setting the vertical bars first. It's all personal preference, but you just want to make sure that you're using the light touch with this, right? I like to use my babies to start everything off to set my pre-line up. And then, if we use enhancements, I'm not sure if I use enhancements on this cut. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But if you're going to use enhancements, it'll just set everything up for you. You always want to set a baseline before you come back in with your hitters. I mean, that's just me personally. I know a lot of people that only use their hitters, right? But now I'm coming back in with my hitters and I'm just reframing out what I just set with my babies, right? It just, for me, I don't know. I've just always been doing this. It don't take me no longer to do it. So if you don't want to do that step, that pre-lineup, it's, what I'm saying? It's all personal preference. Like I said, that's just what I like to do. But just like taps with this, man, when you're using your hitters especially, you don't want to over dig in. And now, if you notice, I always use 3 pair of liners. I have my babies, I have my hitters, and then I have my beard liners, right? These are the ones that I use to shave and I use to set the lining on the beard, right, on the neck, right, because it's sharp but not too sharp. They're still sensitive enough to use on the neck, but they're sharp enough to um debulk when it comes to me balding out, right? I'm not worried about those blades being dull because I only use them for those purposes. So, I mean, that's just a little tip that I want to give y'all. If y'all want to do it like that, you can. If not, get you a pair of liners that can do everything, right? I mean, it's 2025, man. These clippers and these trimmers are being created differently now, right? I remember back in the day we would have only balders, right? Because oh, I don't want to dull my blade out, right? I only want to use these for balders, and then I'll have my headers, right? But in today's day and age, sometimes you can use one pair for everything. Now, I'm coming in to do my razor work. Please, please, please make sure when you are doing razor work, you are using a fresh razor on every client. It is sanitary. You do not want to take a razor from one client that got dead skin and all those other product and particles over it and put it on somebody else's skin. That is cross contamination. Just put a new blade on, man. Now, that is something that y'all never seen me do, right? On this client, his skin is a little tougher and he also had a couple pimples. So what you'll see is, and I left this on here on purpose because I wanted y'all to see that I kind of nicked those two pimples that he had right there with the razor. It is okay. It is not the end of the world. It happens, right? Mistakes happen. So what you do is you continue to work, you continue to move, and I will show y'all how to clean up and sanitize after I finish setting everything up. But when it happens, man, don't be afraid, bro. Like I said, it happens. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. Um, you're gonna make mistakes sometimes. Sometimes a client's skin may be tougher than others, right? And yes, to prevent that, I probably could have went in with some type of shaving cream or shaving gel, right? To make it an easier, smoother glide with the razor. But I mean, it like I said, it's not the end of the world, and I technically prefer to do a dry shave when I'm doing the beard lineup. But I mean, like I said, I'm gonna show y'all how to sanitize that, and I'm gonna show y'all how to clean that up. So that way, as long as it's not like a super, super deep gash to where you done ripped half the man cheek off, you'll be all right, bro. It's okay. It's a little bit of blood. You can clean it off before, or you can do it after. Now, I'm doing the same exact steps on the other side, right? I'm just kind of framing that line out, and then I'm gonna come back in with the razor to completely solidify it. And then after I do the first pass, I'll come in with my balding trimmers or my beard trimmers, and I'll clean the cheek up, right? And then I'll come back in and I'll reline up the beard line, right? Just to make sure that everything is completely set, completely solidified. And then, we'll go on to the next step. So after I lined it up, I noticed the point. I kind of wanted to soften that up a little bit more. But see, that's what I'm saying. As you're cutting, man, you set things and then you realize, okay, let me try this, or let me do this like this, let me do this like that. Right? It's art at the end of the day, man. It's how you want to paint this picture. This is your canvas, right? You do with it what you want as long as you communicate with your client on how it is that they want. But what you do have free range on is the way you do your blend, right? You may want to set the blend to where it's proportioned to his head, right? Where it fits his head shape a little bit better. So, meaning you may have to do a drop fade. You may have to do a higher fade. You may have to do a lower fade, whatever the case may be, right? You have free range on that, but you also want to make sure you are conversing with your client the entire time, asking them, hey, how would you like this to happen? How would you like this to be set? How would you like, do you want enhancements? Do you not want enhancements? Hey, I'm noticing on this side it's lighter than this side. Would you like for me to professionally push it back? Would you like for me to keep it natural? Would you like for me to line it up the way the hair naturally grows? You know, just those little tidbits, man. And when you do that, you'll go a long way, man. Your chair will stay spinning because the client will feel appreciated and feel heard. Now, as you see, I done set the liner and everything. And now I'm coming back in and I'm doing some more detail work, right? I'm coming in with the one guard and I'm just getting into those dark areas using the corners of my blades, right? And I'm just doing a little bit more detail work. I may even put larger guards back on just to do more detail work. When you take a step back and you look away, you go look in the mirror, you go look at something else, right? It will retrain your eyes onto the blade the blend, I'm sorry, because you've been looking at the blend for so long, your eyes can sometimes get blurred, right? So you have to recenter them, reset them or refocus on something else. And then once you go back and you relook, you'll say, oh, okay, here, it's a dark spot here. Let me kind of detail this a little bit more. It's a dark spot there. Let me kind of detail that a little bit more. And again, the mirror will be your best friend when it comes to that because the mirror is going to tell you everything. Or if you don't have access to a mirror, guess what you can use? Your phone camera. Take out your phone or ask, if you record and you ask one of your, one of your coworkers hey, can I see your phone real quick? You know what I'm saying? I just want to kind of look at this blend real quick. And you take a real quick video and you just look at it. So now I'm cleaning it up, right? I come in with some alcohol on a neck strip, a clean neck strip, a separate one, and I clean it off. And then now I have nick powder. We're gonna come in with the nick powder and we're gonna place it on. Now, don't fry me, don't roast me. No, I didn't put gloves on when I did this process. But again, I cleaned my hands before I did it, right? You sanitize before you do it. Put some alcohol on your hands, sanitize, right? You know what I'm saying? And then, you can go ahead and you put the nick powder on it. You let it sit for a little bit. What the nick powder is going to do is going to clog that wound up, right? It's going to stop the bleeding. It's going to clog it, right? And then after that, you clean it back off. Now you see me showing the client the mirror, right? For his approval, his satisfaction. And then, yeah, man. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in for this video. I know I've been kind of slacking on videos. Like I said, man, there's been a lot going on, man. But hey, I'm going to get more consistent with this. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.